Identity theft has become a fact of life in our increasingly connected world. To protect your customers, your dealership now offers truIdentity as a benefit for everyone who buys or leases a vehicle. truIdentity is a unique program. It provides fully managed identity theft recovery for your customers and their families. It also includes lost wallet service and real-time monitoring of the dark web for the misuse or sale of covered members' identities. Finally, it provides $1 million of ID theft insurance. Let's look at those features in greater detail. There are two types of identity recovery services: assisted and fully managed. With assisted recovery, if a customer becomes a victim of identity theft, the service provider assists the victim by providing advice and perhaps forms to be used, but the victims must do the actual work themselves. Unsurprisingly, assisted recovery is of limited value to your customers. Fully managed recovery, on the other hand, actually restores an identity to its pre-theft status on the victim's behalf. With fully managed recovery, the victim receives a limited power of attorney. Once filled out, notarized, and returned, this limited power of attorney gives the recovery advocate the legal right to perform the remediation services on the victim's behalf. While the victim needs to cooperate with the process, it is the recovery advocate, not the victim, who does the heavy lifting. Typical services performed to restore an identity include placing fraud alerts at the 3 major credit bureaus, providing the victim with copies of credit reports from all 3 credit bureaus and review of the reports to identify fraudulent activity, assistance in completing the official identity theft affidavit from the Federal Trade Commission, contacting the Social Security Administration, U.S. Postal Service, Department of Motor Vehicles, and other agencies to reverse any misuse of official documentation, research and documentation of any fraudulent transactions, false accounts, or contracts signed with creditors, banks, utility companies, leasing agents, medical facilities, etc., and follow-up to make sure all wrongful activity is removed from the victim's credit file. Work with local and federal law enforcement to help stop the criminals that are misusing the victim's identity. Notify law enforcement, report your situation, and the potential risk for identity theft. At the close of the victim's recovery case, the recovery advocate will provide confirmation of the victim's return to pre-identity theft status and provide post-recovery follow-up for 12 months. Victims will have direct access to their recovery advocate by phone, email, and fax, both for the duration of their case and for the post-recovery follow-up period. Lost wallet service is another valuable feature of truIdentity. By just enrolling the cards in a member's wallet, a single phone call can initiate their cancellation and replacement in the event a wallet is lost or stolen. This is a great convenience for your customers and reduces the amount of time thieves have to misuse customers' identities and damage their credit. In addition to post-theft remediation and lost wallet service, truIdentity features real-time monitoring of the dark web for misuse and sale of customers' non-public personal information. This is one of truIdentity's most important features. What is the dark web? The internet that we all use every day is technically called the indexed web because it is indexed by search engines. The dark web is not indexed and therefore requires special software to be accessed. The advantage for criminals of the dark web is that its use and the origin of servers it connects is almost impossible to track. Stolen identities are continuously being sold and purchased through the dark web. Transactions are typically paid for in Bitcoin or other cryptocurrencies. When you hear about major data breaches, the dark web is where many of those stolen identities wind up. And unlike having your watch stolen, which can only be sold once, your identity can be sold multiple times to crooks all over the world for years. truIdentity tracks the non-public personal information covered members enroll to be monitored. This requires customers to visit the truIdentity website at their convenience to add this information. Often, customers forget to do this, but once they see news stories of the latest data breach, they go to the site and input their essential data. It doesn't take long and can include social security numbers, credit and debit card numbers, insurance account numbers, and so on. At a minimum, name and social security numbers should be included in the data being monitored. The URL of the website to begin the monitoring process is on the program enrollment form. Identity theft recovery coverage starts immediately and requires no further action on the customer's part. People often confuse internet monitoring with credit monitoring, but they're quite different. As the name implies, credit monitoring focuses on the creation and misuse of credit accounts. Although this is important, it constitutes less than 15% of all identity theft damages and is the easiest to fix. Also, credit monitoring is available for free from services such as Credit Karma, so it's not necessary to include in a broader service like truIdentity. All of the truIdentity benefits apply to the customer's entire family. truIdentity defines family quite broadly to cover the customer's spouse or domestic partner, all children of the customer, spouse, or domestic partner who live with the customer under the age of 25, and all IRS dependents, regardless of age, including parents who share the same permanent address as the customer or are in an assisted living facility, skilled nursing home, hospice, or have been deceased 12 months or less. 1 year of truIdentity is provided to all customers as a benefit of doing business with your dealership. Additional years of coverage may be purchased in F&I, typically in 3 or 5 year bundles. These bundles are in addition to the year that is included with the vehicle purchase or lease. Unlike most identity theft recovery services customers may have heard of, truIdentity has no significant exclusions. Coverage is provided even if the identity thief is a friend or family member, or if the identity was stolen through an email phishing attack. Even pre-existing conditions are covered, provided the customer hasn't discovered the theft at the time the coverage starts. truIdentity comes with $1 million of identity theft insurance coverage. This covers reimbursement of eligible expenses up to $1 million, including out-of-pocket expenses, stolen funds, lost wages, and legal fees associated with a covered identity theft event. truIdentity includes a 3-year stay-fixed guarantee for all customers. While there is no limit on the number of ID restorations truIdentity will perform during the period of coverage, if a restoration is performed and the victim suffers another ID theft within 3 years, another restoration will be provided, even if the victim is no longer paying for the service. Finally, for those who purchase additional years of truIdentity, there's a money-back guarantee. If truIdentity fails to restore a covered member's identity to its pre-event status, the customer's money will be cheerfully refunded. In today's world, no one is safe from identity theft. But with truIdentity, your customers will have the peace of mind that comes from the best protection in the business.